Alrighty.
Alrighty. I'm just gonna meet everyone here. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna start laying down on your back. Grab one more sip of water real quick. I'm gonna be sitting up, but I'll show you real quick how we're gonna be laying down. Just lay down, and we'll bend the knees and place the feet onto the floor. And you can choose either to bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees fall apart, or if the low back is painful here, if you're feeling some tightness in the low back, you can heel toe the feet wide and let the knees fall together, kind of like a tent. And then just resting the arms either on your body or you can reach them out to the side. So you can choose any of those there. Turn my music down a little bit. And then close the eyes. Taking a couple breaths to enter into your space, getting relaxed in the body, letting the mind process all of its last minute thoughts and reminders. And just observing the depth of your breath to begin with. Just that initial beginning couple of minutes, just noticing the breath starting to slowly evolve into a slower breath, little by little. And sending the breath throughout the rib cage, your back, and your low belly. Gradually making the breath deeper and deeper, sending it all the way down to the base of your spine. Allowing the entire weight of your head to rest onto your mat. And relaxing both shoulders, letting them fall back, opening up the heart, shoulders. And softening the hips, whether the knees are wide or together. And just breathing in and out. Arriving into your space of practice, letting go of any expectations, letting go of anything that isn't any of our own business, whether that has to do with the thoughts of other people, impressions of other people, our own ego telling us things. Just listening to the sound that your breath makes in your throat and in your chest, in and out through the nose. And while we're laying here, kind of just soaking in the energy of the day and the energy of your breath and the state of mind that you happen to be in on this particular day. As we observe all of those things in the background, creating a focus or a mantra or some type of intention that you'd like to remind yourself throughout this practice. It'd be I am enough, that's a good one, or any short little mantra or saying that begins with I am is always a good one. Or I am grateful, or I am strong, or I am smart, whatever comes to mind that you'd like to just remind yourself throughout this hour. Usually, whatever the first thing that comes to mind is the right thing to pick. And find that little reminder to yourself and repeat it silently to yourself as you breathe. And then slowly starting to little by little open the eyes, maybe halfway open or looking up towards the ceiling. And I have a cat on my lap. I have to just, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We're gonna heel toe the feet back onto the mat if it's not already there. So if the knees are falling out wide into a butterfly, heel toe the feet so they touch the mat, hips width distance. And then we'll just sway the knees side to side. You could optional turn the head slowly side to side, along opposite with the knees if you'd like. Or you can just keep the head neutral and sway the knees. Nice. We'll just warm up the lower core. We're going to just scoot the hands or arms alongside your hips, palms facing down. You might roll the shoulders back a little tiny bit, and then straighten the legs and extend the legs up to the sky. And then adjust so that your lower back is touching the mat. So you might have to kind of scoot your hips a little bit. And pressing your low back into your mat. You can't see my feet, but spread your toes and flex your feet up to the ceiling. Keep your low back pressed to the low mat, and then slowly just lower your feet down maybe a third of the way, maybe halfway or a third, and then slowly back up. And as you lower the feet, we're just gonna do a couple of these. Keep pressing the low back into the mat. As soon as, if the back starts to feel like it's starting to lift away, that's when you can kind of stop and come back up. So just keeping the low back protected and just taking a couple of these on your own and just warm up the core. You don't have to go crazy here, just warming it up. There we go. Let me know if the music is too loud or distorted or anything. So we'll do a couple of those. I'm cheating. I haven't been doing it. My bad. All right. And try to, if you're not already, move the breath with the legs. Maybe exhaling as they lift and inhaling as you lower. Okay, just do a couple more breaths more, or pause and break when you need to. Nice. Take about 1 or 2 more. And then we'll rest the feet onto the mat, bending the knees. We're going to take bridge pose. So setting up for that, scoot the heels in nice and close towards your body. Roll the shoulders back a little bit and make sure that your head and neck is in a neutral position, looking straight up. And once your neck is neutral, you can lift your hips when you're ready and find your bridge pose. Nice big breaths into the front part of your body. Try to release your glutes and use those muscles on your inner thighs, squeezing the knees towards each other as if you're holding a loaf of bread in between your knees. Like you don't want to crush the bread, but you want to hold it there. Good. Keeping your head neutral, take a breath and lift your heels off of the mat so you come to your tippy toes, and then exhaling, roll down nice and slow. Tailbone comes down last. You can be still for a moment. You could even heel toe the feet wide and bring the knees together to neutralize the low back. Good. We're going to do one more core thing while we're here. We'll heel toe the feet together and let the knees come out together wide into a butterfly. And then we'll reach both arms up over alongside your ears, palms together into a prayer. And we're just going to do as many of these as you can. You don't have to count or anything, just enough to warm up your abs here and warm up your core. So we're just going to do kind of these crunches where we reach our hands towards the feet. So inhaling, exhaling along with your movement. That makes sense here. And just doing these kind of like Pilates like crunches. It's a good way to do crunches that keeps the back protected. Just do a couple. I'm already pretty warmed up here in this region. So let's do maybe 2 or 3 more. I'll do 1 more with you guys. Awesome. We'll rest the feet back onto the mat and sway your knees side to side. Then let's hug your right knee into your chest. Left leg is long. Squeezing the right knee in. Spread the toes. You can be still, or you can make little circles or half circles. Good. And we'll switch. Switching legs, left knee in, right leg long. And now we'll bring both knees in together, rolling into kind of like an egg, hugging the knees in nice and close. And you can rock side to side if you'd like. I love rocking here. It's a nice back massage. Then we're gonna reach the hands behind the back of your knees, and we'll just start to rock forward and back. Or if you'd prefer, you can just roll to one side and come up that way. Otherwise, if possible, try rolling back and forth a few times, giving the back and spine a nice massage. And it's fun. Nice. And we'll come up and we'll find a tabletop. There we go. We'll find your tabletop. Grab your squishy thing if you need something under the knees. Here we go. Fabulous. This works. All right. Next, let's reach the right arm out to the right side like an airplane wing. Make sure the hips and the shoulders are still squared with the mat. And we'll just do little tiny lifts like you're just fluttering your wing a couple inches at a time. And just warming up and strengthening your rhomboid muscles and your trap muscle there on the right arm. And don't worry, we're going to stretch it out after this. But just helping out with our posture, keeping us standing up nice and tall, supporting the upper back. Sometimes the upper back can get kind of weak, and then the pectoral muscles get tight, which can be painful. Good, nice. And then we'll inhale, reach that right arm up as high as you can. You don't have to push for pain, but just push it reaching upward towards the sky. Take a breath in, and then breath out, we'll thread the needle, sliding it through. Head rests to the mat. Nice big breaths into that right shoulder blade, or whichever arm you're starting with if you started with the left. And one more breath. Plant the hand in front of you and inhale, unthread your needle, reach the right arm back up to the sky to counter pose. And then exhale, both hands back forward onto the mat, grounding all 5 fingers. And then we'll reach that left arm right out or straight out to the side like an airplane wing and take little pulses. Just little pulses. Feel the warmth build into that shoulder, that space kind of on the inner medial side of that shoulder blade. Yeah, it doesn't take much until you feel that warmth. Oh man, nice. And then we'll inhale, stretch that left arm up, open up the chest. And then exhale, slide it through, thread the needle. Nice breaths into the left shoulder blade. Take one more breath on this side. Plant the right hand in front if it's not already. And take a big breath on thread and reach the left arm back up, counter pose. And then both hands come back forward. We'll curl the toes under and we'll come to downward facing dog. Pedal it out, walk it out. Turn the head yes and no. And breathe. Nice big breaths once you get settled. Take another breath or two to prepare your body to move. We're just going to flow through a nice little easy flow. On your next inhale, roll forward, bringing the knees down for a modified plank by shifting forward a little bit so you can activate the core. Good. After that big breath in, we'll exhale, lower all the way down. Chaturanga. I should scoot back a little bit so my face isn't in the couch. There we go. Inhale, peel the heart forward, any back bend. Exhale, come back down. Inhale, press up through table. Exhale, child's pose. Take one big breath in your child's pose. And then next inhale, we'll repeat that. We'll come up through table, curl the toes under, downward dog. And we'll take a few rounds of this flow. So if you need to watch for a few rounds, go ahead. Otherwise, we're going to start to just kind of move freely here. So I'll walk through it a few more times, and then we'll just keep doing it on our own for a few more. Good. When you're ready, inhale if you're following with me. Plank or knees down. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, rest. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, child's pose. Take a breath there. Inhale, make your way up to downward facing dog. Exhale and down dog. Inhale to roll forward to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, back bend of your choice. Exhale, come down to rest. Inhale, up and over. Exhale to child's pose for one breath. Take a breath to come back to downward dog. Take another breath to get settled once you get there. Then we'll inhale, roll forward to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Arms in tight against the ribs. Inhale, any back bend, lengthen the back and the front of the neck. Exhale to rest. Inhale, up and over. Exhale, child's pose. Nice. And I'll allow you here to take your own pace here. You can go slow, you can hold any of these for a moment, or you can kind of go breath by breath. And just taking 3 more rounds of this on your own. And if you don't quite always remember what we're supposed to do, that's okay. Because whenever I'm doing yoga by myself, I'm constantly forgetting what I'm doing. I'm always like, wait, what did I do on this side? I don't even know. So go ahead and take those. Breathe with your movement. Just basically kind of like a nice gentle flow, opening up the heart and the back. So we're going to do some back strengthening next. Probably about 1 or 2 more rounds on your own. Take your time. About around this time, finishing off your last round if you're still going. And whenever you're completed, you can rest either in child's pose or in your downward dog, whichever feels more restful or more needed. Once you find your resting pose, repeat that little reminder or mantra that you came up with earlier, just to yourself. And we'll just take a few more breaths here to rest before we move on. So whichever pose feels the best here, you can change it up. Whether you're in child's pose or if you're in down dog, take a breath or so to finish off this pose for now. And then we're gonna inhale, come up or down to tabletop. We'll come back forward and we're gonna lay onto the belly. We're just gonna do a couple Supermans here to just continue strengthening the back. Since we did some core and some upper back, we'll just do one more for the back. So we're gonna reach your arms straight forward like you're flying Superman. And for this particular one, we're gonna keep the feet on the ground. So you might keep the feet hips width distance, or you might bring the feet together, depending on what feels better for your body today. So you can kind of choose what feels more secure. And then while we're here, you don't have to crank your neck up like me. You can rest your head if you'd like. But first, engage your lower belly just a little bit. You can press into the tops of the feet and kind of engage your lower core so that you could imagine like a tiny little space between your belly and the floor. My stomach is not lifting away from the floor actually, but you can just imagine that lifting sensation of lifting the belly away from the floor. This will help keep the low back protected while we do this. So, and plus it'll keep our core nice and strong. So keeping the core a little bit active here to support the low back, press into the tops of the feet, reach the arms forward, and then we're gonna lift the top half of your body. So I'm gonna scoot back a few inches. We'll move the top half of your body by peeling your heart and chest away from the floor. And we're gonna just breathe here by doing almost like some lat pull down. So we'll bend the elbows. You can kind of watch for this first part. Excuse me. So we're just gonna be doing this. We're gonna inhale, bend the elbows and squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then exhale to lengthen the arms back forward. So it's gonna look like this. So when you're ready, you can rest again and bring the arms down for a moment if they're feeling a little strained. And then when you're ready, inhale, lift the arms and the heart. And we'll take a few of these on your own. Using the breath. I like to inhale and squeeze the shoulder blades together and exhale to reach back forward. And we'll just do a few. You don't really have to count. We're not doing like reps or sets of this. We're just kind of engaging the muscles. And just gently warming them, strengthening them up a little bit. Just reminding those muscles to work. Do a couple of these. Keep the low belly engaged if possible here. I know it's kind of a lot. I'm going to do 3 more, but you can do as many as you'd like, or as little as you like. You can pause and take a break. So when you're finished, you can rest the head on either side of the floor or forehead to your palms. And while we're laying here, we'll bend your knees and sway the feet side to side. We typically do this one a lot. But I love this one, especially when you're laying on your belly. Doing this one, it feels good on the back. It helps get some blood flow going into the lower abdomen. Nice. And while we're here, we're going to straighten the legs again. And we're going to reach your, let's see, which one? what do I want to do here? We're going to reach both arms forward. I'm going to give two different options here. So option one is you can lift your right leg and left arm, so it's opposite. And this is good here. You could even play with bending the knee if you want to. Option two is you can bend the right knee and reach back with the right hand and either grab onto the ankle or the foot if you'd like. Again, this is just option two. And then you would just come up and lift that left arm and press the foot into the hand. So either one, when you're ready, we're going to just do one arm and one leg at a time. So get ready and prepare. And then inhale, whichever one of those two options. If you want to lift one and one, or if you want to bend and grab onto the foot, that's optional. 3 breaths here. Nice. We'll come down and rest. And then we'll prepare for the other side. If possible, you can reach back for the ankle or foot, or prepare to do the other thing that we just did. When you're ready, next inhale, we'll lift the arm and leg. Take 3 breaths. And then we'll come down. Bend the knees, sway the feet side to side. And we're gonna get ready to come back up. We're gonna plant the hands back onto the mat. And slowly press your way up to table. And once you come to table, we'll just do some cat-cows. Nice and slow. And I'll even invite you to hold one of each for maybe a breath or a couple breaths, as well as just moving back and forth. This one's a really easy one to breathe deeply with, because you can't help but to breathe in once you open up the front body, and it's nice and easy to breathe out while you draw the belly in towards your spine. Pay attention to the hands. Keep the fingertips and the pads of the fingers nice and grounded so that the hand is evenly distributed with their gravitational pull. And then take 1 or 2 more. And the next pose we're going to take is we're going to step the right foot in between the hands. So it's up to you if you'd prefer to come from down dog to get there, which is great, or you can just step right forward where you're at, whichever works. Adjust so that the knee and the ankle are friends, and so that the knee isn't going past the toes. You might choose to rock forward and back a little bit here to get the hip flexors a little bit warmed up here. Or you can just be a little still and just kind of lunge forward. Good. Keep your hands on the floor, or when you're ready, if possible, bring your hands up to the thigh, coming up. If it's too much, come down, and that's enough to open up this flexor here. Possibly you might even plug your left hip or your right hip in a little bit so that it's not as intense of a stretch. You can kind of adjust forward and back here. Good. Hands can stay on the thigh or reach the arms up to the sky. Can't see my head, but that's okay. 3 big breaths, letting the shoulders draw down and back, lengthening both sides of your neck. Ah, beautiful. Nice. I see you, Mimi. I see you guys. Nice. Looks good. 1 more big breath. Exhale, come down. Step back, either through down dog or you can come straight to tabletop. And if you're in down dog, bring the knees down to table to meet the rest of us. And then we're just that same hip that was forward, so the right hip will bring it out and around and take some circles with that right knee. Should have done this before we did that one, but that's okay. And then we'll change the direction, roll it out. Yeah, and then we'll bring the knee down and we'll switch. I should have done this to start on the other side, but that's okay. We're gonna lift the leg and roll the knee. Nice big circles. As much as that ball joint can rotate, depending on everything. Good, reverse the circle. Other way. Good, and then we'll step the left foot forward. You come through down dog or through tabletop. Adjust and line it up so it's nice and safe, and you can rock forward and back to start if you'd like, or just kind of hang out, leaning forward. I don't know if you can see my cat's ears. She's right under the laptop, just watching. Oh. Working from home. There we go. And lunging forward. Keep hands on the floor if that's more comfortable, or come up to the thigh. Check in if it's too much. You can always plug it back in a little bit so that it's, still comfortable, but you're still opening it up. Perfectly good. There we go. Hands stay at the thigh, or if you're ready, arms reach up to the sky. I just like that because it rhymes. Nice. Looks beautiful, guys. Nice big breaths. Looking straight ahead or up to the sky, or to the ceiling technically, because we're inside. Nice. Next exhale, we'll reach back forward and step it back through either table or down dog. Good. Then we'll all find downward dog if you're not already there. And we'll just rinse through that flow that we did before just one more time, just to rinse everything out. Take a breath in and out in your downward dog to prepare. And then big breath in, roll forward to plank. Big breath out, lower down, chaturanga. Inhaling, open the heart. Exhaling to rest. Breath in to come up through table, and breath out to child's pose, and take 3 breaths in child's pose, coming back to that reminder that you want to give yourself today. Take another breath in your child's pose and take your time. We're going to come back onto seated. So we'll bring the legs out and around in front of you. Ooh, how's my knee? We're just going to we'll bend the right knee and place the sole of the foot to the inner left thigh. And then we'll just take a side bend here. You can bring a hand to the leg or the floor or the foot. I like to look upward, or you can look straight ahead. Nice. Just taking some tightness from the low back. Oh yeah. Let's take another big breath into that right side body, or that lower right half of the back. And slowly we'll come up to a slightly taller seat, and then twist your heart, or twist so that your heart faces that straight left leg. Take a breath in to grow tall, and then exhale, we'll just fold forward towards the leg. And then here you've had that option before, where if you want to bring your right hand to the pinky edge side of the leg, or even the foot, that can add to the stretch a little bit. And you could even gently, very gently, kind of pull a little bit to help that stretch that kind of starts along like under the armpit, down the side body. But we're always practicing ahimsa, or non-violence towards the body, because we want to be able to do this again next week. Take another breath. And then we'll slowly walk your way back up to tall, and then just twisting away from the legs, bringing left hand to your knee, right hand behind you, and just gently twist away. And we'll come back, unwind your twist. Legs will switch to the other side. I'll switch here so that my heel is on the mat. Sole of the foot onto the inner right thigh, and then heart forward, side bend. Try to keep both hips on the ground best you can. Oh, hi, kitty. Hello. Slowly, next inhale, come back up to a tall seat and start to twist your heart and your body towards the leg, the straightened leg. Spread the toes, grow tall, and when you're ready, fold. Take another breath here, and then slowly walk your way back up. And we'll counterpose by twisting away, right hand to left knee, Other hand behind you, just a gentle twist. Nice. We'll unwind and we'll bring the legs into the shape of a V. So both legs will come out wide. We'll spread the toes and get the sits bones grounded. We'll inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, just walk the fingers forward a little bit until you feel the opening there, the inner thigh. Every inhale, lengthening through the low back. Every exhale, relaxing into the pose. What are you doing? Cat's being curious. We'll take just one more here, in and out through the nose. And we'll walk it back up nice and slow. And we'll bring the hands behind the backs of the knees and just gently guide the legs together and shake it out. And while we're here with the legs straight in front of you and Dandasana, we're gonna just scoot side to side, get the sits bones grounded if they're not already. And we'll just point and flex the feet. And we'll roll the feet out in circles. Opposite circles in both directions. And we'll bring the feet back to flexed and spread the toes. Inhale, we'll lengthen through the low back. Exhale, just kind of fold halfway. Inhale, lift up so that you can lengthen your back, whether you're almost all the way up or halfway lifted. And then exhale, fold. We'll take one more. Inhale, halfway lift, almost like you're doing a half lift from standing. And then exhale, fold, and you can let the arms softly rest on the mat or the legs or the feet, letting the elbows be soft. And it's okay if your back is rounded, mine's rounded, but just try to think about every inhale lengthening through the low back the best you can, and every exhale softening. We'll take a few here. Take one more. And then slowly walk your way back up. We'll bend the knees and place the feet onto the floor. And we'll reach the arms straight forward like you're reaching for a present. And keeping the back straight, we'll start to lower down onto our backs and we'll start to roll the spine, and just rolling one vertebrae at a time until the head comes down last. We'll see, am I cut out? No. We'll bend the knees and sway the feet or the knees side to side. Just get any tightness out of the low back. There we go. And then let's hug the knees into the chest and rock side to side. And then let's reach both arms out to the shape of a T and let the knees fall to whichever side you want to start with, and we'll take a twist. Stacking your knees, or you can straighten the legs, or if you want to go deeper, you can cross the left over the right leg, wherever you want to turn the head, and breathe. Next breath, we'll come back to center and switch to the other side, letting them fall to the other. Supine twist, twisting out anything negative that isn't our business or isn't serving us. Next breath, we'll come back to center and take happy baby or any other pose if there's anything else you'd like to take here. If you want to do a second bridge pose, like a back bend or heart opener. Or you can take happy baby. You can play with rocking side to side. You could even experiment in rocking all the way to one side and back to the other. That's why they really call this pose happy baby. It's kind of a, you literally feel like a baby. So just rocking around. We're just practicing. We're not performing for anyone. We're just doing this for ourselves. Nice. And just taking another 30 seconds to a minute or so to finish off your last poses or movements. And setting up for Shavasana, but taking your time. Don't worry, this isn't beer, this is a cold brew. I was on a Zoom call with my parents the other day and they were like, "Are you drinking beer?" And I was like, "No, it's cold brew." Beer yoga. I did work at it wasn't a studio, it was a gym where they had beer on tap. That was an interesting place. Very Wisconsin. And we'll set up for Shavasana. I'll give you guys a second to get there and get comfy. I'll make sure real quick that my phone is on silent. There we go. And now here we are. We're at the end of our practice. We've done all of our physical practice, or also known as asana. We've done some pranayama, or breathing, expanding the breath together. And now it's time for our other way of kind of cleansing the mind through meditation. and letting everything process. So getting comfortable on your back, whether you're on the floor, on a mat, or if you change to like a furniture that you prefer to lay on, that works too. Once you get there, we'll close the eyes. You can find what's right with the arms and legs if you want to rest arms somewhere on the body or out to either side. And first, just starting with the facial muscles, starting with the forehead, eyes, cheeks, all the muscles around your mouth, your tongue, letting the tongue rest heavy, and unlocking your jaw as you breathe and move that softness down through the throat and the chest. Letting the shoulders ground downward towards the surface that you're on. And just allowing the movement of your breath to stretch and move around through the rib cage, the diaphragm, and your low belly, and both sides of your body, each side of the rib cage. Breathing both upward and downward, breathing laterally, feeling the rib cage expand to either side and knit back together with every exhale. Breathing in a 360, all 360 directions. Grounding your hips and letting the legs soften, whether they're falling outward to either side or if they're bent inward towards each other. And even relaxing your toes and your fingers, the soles of your feet and your palms. And there's not really anything else fancy going on here other than just your breath. And just observing the mind. When intrusive thoughts arise that have to do with others or something that isn't really has to do with yourself, just remind yourself it's none of my business. And if you start to feel those thoughts of internal, something about yourself, you can remind yourself that these thoughts are just thoughts. Kind of like that analogy I've mentioned before, where your brain or your mind is like a barn. And say, for example, if a little stray bird or a little raccoon decided to come into your barn, you would just gently help them out the door. You wouldn't hold on to a raccoon. Or maybe you would, but either way, you get my point. So we'll take a few moments here and just take your Shavasana, process everything, and breathe. Next time your lungs are emptied, take a big breath in through your nose, sending the breath to the lowest point of your spine and letting that breath out any way you wish, through the nose or the mouth. It's just starting to bring awareness back to the breath. Wiggling fingers and toes. Taking any stretches for arms or legs. Any part of the appendicular parts of your body. And slowly rolling over to one side that's comfortable and resting your head onto your arms or the floor, whatever is more comfortable. And stacking the knees And as you're on one side, just reminding yourself of gratitude, as we always do when we come to this point. Just reminding yourself of one or a few things that you're grateful for. And eventually, within the next couple breaths, working your way up to build the strength to press your way up to seated. Sitting tall as usual when you get there, and breathing fully in and out into the lungs. Bringing hands together in prayer position in front of the heart and bowing your head forward towards your chest. And as we're here, I ask you here silently to yourself, how does it feel to be you in your body right now in this very moment? Thank you very, very much for being here today. Namaste. Thank you, everyone, again. Thanks for sticking around, and I hope you have a good week. Thanks for joining. I'm glad everyone's healthy, and yeah, let me know if you have questions about anything at all, or if you need anything, shoot me an email.
Thanks, Kat. Have a good week.
Bye, Mimi. Good to see you. Bye,
Thanks,
Sarah.
Kat. Till next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Linda. Bye, Mimi.